This is a look at the natural selection of the peppered moth. From its initial discovery, white peppered moths have been more prevalent and able to camouflage better on the trees in London. At this time, the white peppered moth had the variation of the trait that was favorable to their environment and more likely to pass their traits on to their offspring. However, the black peppered moths did not have a desirable trait for their environment and were more likely to be prey. The black peppered moth was less likely to pass that trait on to its offspring, and therefore its population declined to 2% of the peppered moth population. Then the Industrial Revolution started. As more factories pumped out coal and smoke and steam, the color of the trees became more black. By 1895, the black peppered moth had now had the favorable trait, and its variation of the species had increased to 98%, and the white peppered moths had dropped to 2%. The black moth was able to camouflage better, and its population rate dramatically increased. This shifted the favorable trait from white peppered moth to black peppered moth. This single trait allowed their variation of the species to survive and their population to grow to 98%. What you see here are two instances of variation. The favorable heritable trait is passed on to the offspring. The trait that is more noticeable is not able to be passed on. Their variation of the species generally declines. This is a form of directional selection. Neither moth had evolved in that short amount of time, but each moth had a variation in their genetic code that allowed them to survive in different times. The only thing that changed was the environment due to the Industrial Revolution. Therefore, the black peppered moth became more favorable than the white peppered moth, and that variation was able to be passed on to future generations.